Hello again, I'm still Ben. Back to the hat to find out what our next topic is. A lot in here still. We'll be doing this for a while. The football stadium example. The football stadium example. What could I mean by that? Well, this is an example that I think will help people visualize how much billionaires shouldn't exist. There is a level of science and study behind our brains just not really processing super high numbers very well. Like once it gets above a certain threshold, our brain kind of just goes, okay, it's fine, it's huge. Like we're not considering the scale of it. It's much more difficult to hold that scale because it's so large. So this is an example that I think pretty much everybody in the country should be able to follow because it's based on football, which even if you don't care about, you know somebody who probably does, or you know enough about it that you would be able to envision a football stadium, right? Now in this football stadium, there is a single company, let's say one single company filled up this football stadium. They've got 100,000 employees, perfect for a football stadium, absolutely filled up. It's a big meeting. The CEO's down on the field with a big mic. It's the craziest meeting you've ever seen. One huge company with a lot of employees. Now, the kind of wealth we're talking about when we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars, and maybe even soon here with the most divorced man as a trillionaire, into that scale as well. We're talking about money that you're not getting, right? Because if I'm talking to the 1% right now, then I don't know why you're watching, but I hope you do keep watching. I've got a lot of messages for you as well. When I say I want to help everybody, I do mean everybody, and that includes you, even though you're probably not really going to agree with what is helpful for you, but that's another video. So every amount of money that could get evenly distributed from all of the profit of this company throughout all the employees in the stadium, right? Like every employee has a paycheck, right? They're all holding their paycheck. Maybe they all got a new bonus paycheck for something. And the CEO on the field says, folks, there's been a mix-up. Because of how much money I make as the CEO here of this company, or as the owner and wealthy billionaire who owns the companies and the other shell companies that this company owns, most of those paychecks are going to need to go to me. In fact, I'm going to take about 60% of all of those paychecks. I need them to pass them all the way down here. Now, don't worry, because the rest of the maybe 30 or 40% of those paychecks, you can all divide amongst yourselves. But I'm going to get all those for me. All right? That's the kind of gap we're talking about, except it's not big enough. So now what I need you to do as a thought exercise is take that stadium filled with people who are expected to live on, if we're talking about actual wealth numbers and how bad it is, we're talking about the billionaires, a few hundred billionaires worldwide owning upwards of 60 or closer to 70% of the world's resources. So we're talking about one person taking all of those paychecks away from the workers for themselves in a huge football stadium. But now I need you to shrink that stadium down with a shrink ray and put that entire stadium into another seat in a larger stadium. And every one of those seats in that stadium has a mini stadium in it. And all of that keeps getting funneled down to the big big CEOs, the big guys, the top 0.01% of people. Or even, I guess, 0.1% would probably be enough to categorize it correctly, because what is that? That's 100,000 seats 100,000 times. That's closer to the number you need to think of for how much money is being taken away from you, the people who work and actually do the jobs. The people who are in charge, the people who are owners, they don't know how to do your jobs, do they? What kind of job do you have? Do you think your boss could come in and do your job right now? If you had to leave in an emergency, could the CEO of your company come do your job? Almost always no. Almost always no, unless we're talking about small companies. But for small companies that don't have 100,000 employees or more, in this huge example, the wealth isn't that badly distributed. It's why small business is good and big business is bad. Just think about that. Think about trying to live off of a fraction of a paycheck for 100,000 people together versus one guy took most of it. That's literally what's happening. I hope that was an example that more people could kind of wrap their heads around for the level of inappropriate wealth hoarding that we're dealing with. My name is Ben Howison. Sursum Corda.